I mean, we have looked at, I've been in politics for a little while, not as long as the elder statesman. But I started off from AD, so if you are not very familiar with my own history, it was because of the outcome of the primaries, which I wasn't satisfied with, that I moved on to PDP because of invitation, and I was actually given the Senate seat to run because they appreciated my followership in my state. And I've proven that times without number. Now that I've moved to APC, we had a landslide in my local government. And for me, it's not about the quest for power. It's about the personality. When somebody speaks, if the president says, I will allow a free and fair election, there is the propensity for people to trust him more than the other candidates in this country that is currently running, because he has demonstrated it times without number, that he has integrity. And for me, that is what I see in the president, and that is why I'm one of the strongest supporters and believers in him. It's not as if I'm totally satisfied with the primaries we just had. But I had made my mind up. It's not about me. It's about the progress of this country. When you say we should, or a president should go and sign, knowing fully well that if somebody goes to court, and one section says you must give 21 days, and the other one says, no, this section says it's 90 days. And you are saying that we should just go ahead and patch it up and manage it and just sign it like that? And I keep on saying that this president has been more than very fair, because I look at things that it could have done to the advantage of the party, APC, in which case, when people just all of a sudden migrated to another party, we are saying it cannot be business as usual. There must be a stop to this thing. There is a law regulating the campaign. If we had implemented that and say, okay, yes, let's go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court had judged in Abegunle versus Ondo State that when you move from one party and you go to another one, a party that elected you, and you move en masse to another one, you are saying, no, it's because of we are trying to have peace. That means we'll continue to have the same problem over and over. This Senator, is a party.
Let me jump in and ask you at this point before we move on to Alhaji Galadima. Well, yeah, you know, there are several people who are of different views about this rejection of this particular amendment. I mean, 4 times now. But if they say that the president, his critics think, okay, well, if he's really committed to ensuring free, fair, credible, violence-free poll, as he did put out in his Christmas message, which executive bill has this government introduced to the National Assembly to improve the integrity of the electoral process?
Well, the genesis of this amendment, when I started following it, was as a result of the ordering of the elections. And that came in as a National Assembly bill. Now, if we are talking about this amendment, don't forget that PDP was in power for 16 years. And all these problems were there. They were not corrected because they were benefiting. Now, when you look at it, if they want the president to sign this bill, let us look at it critically, put in something that does not have any contradiction or any controversy in it. And I believe the president will sign it. It's the same level playing ground for everybody.
Yes, Senator,
if we use what we had.
Yeah, could you suggest to us then, if you're saying they should put in something, what kind of things should they be putting in? Any suggestions?
Well, they should go and amend, first of all, by a starting point, amend the 2 clauses, let them align together. If we are using 21 days, let's use 21 days. If we are using 90 days, let's use 90 days. You can't go to court. There is no judge that will look at it and say, okay, which one do I take? Is it 21 days or is it 90 days? People are just completely glossing over that, believing, oh, we can sweep it under the carpet. We can do that. I believe this government has one of the best teams by virtue of the vice president being an SAN and being a professor of law. It will be unimaginable for such a bill to pass through and he not advising Mr. President or even the Attorney General. Looking at that bill, seeing that controversy, he would advise the president not to sign.
All right,
and the president relies on...
Let me move on to Alhaji Galadima on this particular matter. I mean, the president, well within his rights to have declined assent to that particular bill. But some, your critics also think that, look, the PDP has won elections in some states recently without this particular clause in it. So if they are that confident that they will win elections, why should they then bother about this bill not being signed?
Let me say that there was no ambiguity whatsoever in the Electoral Act. And I want to share with Senator Ayo Arise that what he's doing is self-indictment, is indicting himself. This bill has been in the National Assembly for the last 2 years. And he's telling us he's been a member of the National Assembly. Why didn't he point out to his colleagues that there is an ambiguity? He also spoke of the VP as a former Attorney General of Lagos State and SAN, and he saw this when the bill is being thrown back and forward 4 times. He couldn't say so. So it means there is no sincerity in what they are doing. They are only setting a booby trap, giving a dog a bad name in order to hang it because they are afraid to sign the Electoral Act. That is simple. They don't want to sign, therefore they kept quiet. And I want to also tell him, if he doesn't know, that the Attorney General participated in drafting this bill and participated in the development of this bill with the National Assembly and INEC. Why didn't he show this to draw the attention of his colleagues in the tripartite meetings that they were doing? Why did he wait until the last time? And when this bill was submitted to Mr. President for assent for the 4th time, he kept it for 1 month. For 1 month, until he rejected it on flimsy excuse. Why didn't he look at it in the first day and call the tripartite people who developed this bill and told them that, look, this is what is wrong, go and rectify it and bring it for me to sign? So he spoke of integrity. I can't see any integrity whatsoever on the side of Mr. President. Which integrity? Somebody who condones corrupt people around him? We know of his relatives. We know of his friends who were bankrupt before 2015. We know of his relatives who take 2,000 naira transport money from us to go to Kaduna. Today, they are multi-billionaires. They have assets all over the world. They have estates all over the world. I can show anybody that wants to know. So the issue of integrity with this government is not an issue. Go to Daura GRA. All the houses that are looking like, you go there, you see like you are in Dubai, or you are in London, or you are in Beirut, are built by who? To whom those properties belong. So please, I don't want anybody, any APC man, to talk to me about integrity. Please, this should be the last time anybody that is engaging me in debate will talk about integrity. I will take them to the marketplace.
Alhaji Galadima, let's move on to security, about the role of security agencies in elections. We know that this was a huge matter in the last elections. In fact, some pointedly accused the PDP of having laid a wrong foundation concerning how security personnel conduct themselves in elections. So for those who may think, rightly or wrongly, that, well, if that happens now, it's paying the PDP back in its own coin. Will they have a point if they say that?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I had never been a member of the PDP as I speak to you. I am a national chairman of the reformed APC, national chairman. And we have an understanding with the clean, pure people of the PDP. So you should have asked Senator Ayo Arise, who had been a member of the PDP, and when these all issues took place. But I want to tell you something that you may not believe. The Inspector General of Police, his tenure will be expiring on the 3rd of January. I assure you, and I challenge whosoever, that by that time, the president will renew his tenure. And I want to be proved wrong. He will renew his tenure for no reason, but because this is the Inspector General of Police that can help him rig an election. And I challenge them, let the Inspector General of Police tell us his role in 2015 when he was sent by PDP to the Northwest Zone to stop certain things. I challenge him, call him, and we have a public debate for the world to see. This Inspector General of Police, who defied orders of Mr. President, who should have been dismissed outright by Mr. President, but he was condoned because simply they want to use him for another day. Take the military service chiefs. Why are they retained? Are they the only people that are competent within the Nigerian military? Or the Inspector General of Police, Idris, the only competent police officer? They will deny other zones that opportunity, other zones who have leading members now in the hierarchy of the police, because when he goes, it is somebody from another zone that would take over. But simply because the APC government, which is nepotic, will not allow that person to take over, they will renew his tenure or extend his tenure.
All right,
Therefore, I don't believe that the security agencies or the police will provide a level playing field. But we will make sure they have to kill all of us.
All right, let's get Senator to respond to this. Senator Arishe, we'd like to get your thoughts on this, and perhaps before you wrap up, let us know if you're interested in seeing us make that particular debate happen. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me start by correcting Alhaji Galadima that he spoke about the relatives of Mr. President building houses. I don't know about that, but I know of Mr. President nobody, apart from somebody just coming in to tell a blatant lie, can say Mr. President has XYZ foreign account, he has XYZ number of houses, he has everybody in this country is rooting for Buhari because of his antecedent and because of his uprightness. It is not that he's a perfect man, but people tend to come in and disabuse our minds about what is very obvious. If you say his relatives are, if you become president tomorrow, that's Alhaji Galadima, is it likely that your relations or your friends would actually use your name to prosper? It's very possible. Now, if you now begin to lay the fact that somebody has prospered and now say that is a deficiency of Mr. President, the whole essence is for the whole country to prosper. And that is why you have the market money going to people who cannot afford 100,000, being given 100,000 to run their businesses. People cannot afford 5 square meal, giving them 5,000 to actually survive. That is for the old people. Now, the trader money starts from 10,000 for the poor and the poor traders. These people
speak about security before time creeps up on us. Senator, go ahead and respond to his submissions on security. We're losing time.
Yes, on the issue of security, let me assure you that the president had the prerogative to appoint any Inspector General of Police. If Idris leaves, he will still be the one that will appoint somebody that will be at least reasonably, he has to be loyal to the president because the president is given the right to appoint. I will not go ahead and appoint a PDP person that is very obvious, that would be trying to rig, but I want to trust this president. We've had several elections. We just had one in Ekiti. And I can assure you...
Just a minute, Senator. I know, before we go, I mean, why the former president appointed Professor Jega, whom he said he never met, he didn't know. So why can't that kind of scenario happen here in order to at least let people see, let it come across as though the president is putting his money where his mouth is?
Well, let's look at it without taking much away from Professor Jega. He came in, he delivered on what Nigerians wanted. The 2011 election, Dr. Jonathan, our former president, won that election under Jega. The transparency continued. We were building, looking at the problems of election, and solutions were being developed to curb the excesses, to curb the fraud, to curb ballot box snatching, to curb overvoting.
Senator,
and
a pointed answer. We'll have to go. Should the president appoint someone who he's never met?
I don't even know whether he ever met Professor Yakubu before he was appointed. The fact that he was a professor in Zaria, there is no way the president is not a professor. So
concerning
I don't
security,
think that he had met him. But the fact that he, yeah.
Should he, yes or no?
I didn't get you.
Concerning the position of the IGP, should he, yes or no?
Should he appoint another person?
Yeah, should he get somebody there who perhaps he's never known?
Let me say something. If you look at this president,
we'll have to go.
All
yes
the
or no,
ministers
because we need to go.
all the way through. So the tendency to change people, I have not seen that in him. So I don't know what he will do. I cannot second guess him. And I can remember the time of
I'm afraid, Senator, we need to go. We're really out of time on this.
His time was renewed over and over beyond his retirement.
Pardon me, gentlemen. We need to wrap up at this stage. Senator Ayo Arishe, a member of the APC, and Alhaji Buba Galadima, presidential spokesperson of the APC campaign organization. Thank you, gentlemen, for talking to us today on the program. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.